This week on Power and Politics.
Mr. Speaker, I never thought I'd be back here. But the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Whether by divine intervention or otherwise, Tom Suozzi is back in Congress, and he has a message for his House colleagues.
Enough with the theater and the drama. Enough with the hyperbole and the histrionics.
But the partisan divide is fierce as Republicans cling to a slim House majority and the next round of elections loom later this year. So how does Congressman Suozzi plan to be part of the solution?
It's not going to change like that. It's a matter of doing the work in.
And how do his colleagues feel about his arrival?
We'll see if he can deliver on the promises that he made of wanting to work in a bipartisan fashion.
This special Capitol Hill edition of Power and Politics begins right now. Welcome to a special edition of News 12's Power and Politics. I'm Rich Barrabi. We are on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C., where it has been an eventful week. It's also a week that marks the beginning of a new chapter. Democrat Tom Suozzi of Glen Cove was sworn into the House of Representatives this week after winning his special election against Mazi Pilip in the race to replace George Santos. Suozzi spoke on the House floor, calling on his colleagues to work together and preaching bipartisanship. But will it make a difference? We spoke with the Congressman one-on-one. All right, Tom, thanks for being here. You delivered the speech that you said you wanted to deliver. How do you think it went?
It was fantastic. I mean, it was a great experience, and I got to say what I wanted to say to all my colleagues, which is that people want us to work together. And, you know, I've been down here for about 48 hours, and I've talked to a lot of members of Congress already, and they're just very discouraged. They're very, I mean, there's a lot of good people down here that don't like what's happening. And I don't think that most Americans realize, or most people from my district realize, most Democrats and Republicans really do want to work together and get things done. But too many people are letting ourselves be bullied by the base on both sides.
So why is that? Is it primaries? Is it social media? Is it super PACs? Is it all of the above?
It's all the above. You know, there's a sense that if you don't just take the orthodoxy of their party, or, you know, follow the leaders of your party, and you try to work across party lines, you're going to get punished for that. On social media, at a primary, from your donors, but it's not working. The country's a wreck, and the people have had it. The people just are sick of the whole thing. And so, you know, what I said last night was kind of simplistic, really. Hey, let's work together. You know, can't we all get along type of thing? It's kind of simple, but it really needs to be said. And it needs to be said more often and constantly and over again.
Did you get to talk to any Republicans after the speech to hear what they
thought
about it?
Even, I went with Mike Johnson afterwards, and he says, hey, it was a great speech. And, you know, talked to some of my friends. A lot of my friends texted me, a lot of, you know, Republicans and Democrats. You know, you're right. You know, so but it's not going to change like that. It's a matter of putting the work in, putting the effort in. You know, someone said to me, it only takes one person to do a tweet, only one person to do a press conference, only one person to make a speech. It takes 218 people to pass something. So we got to figure out how can we get people working together again.
We spoke with Congressman Nick LaLota before your speech, and he felt there were areas that you could work together on. But he also said that for what you laid out in your speech to become a reality, you will have to talk directly to Democrats. He says if you reach across on issues including SALT, they may follow, but you're going to have to be out front because he says right now he's not seeing it from the other side. I'm sure that goes both ways, but what's your reaction to it?
I think exactly what you said. It goes both ways. I mean, both sides have to put the effort in and put the work in. And, you know, on the issue of SALT, we've got to build that coalition. We need Democrats and Republicans in the House. We need governors and mayors. We need firefighters and teachers. We need people that are affected by this, not just locally, but throughout the country, to build a coalition to try and get this back.
Affordability is one of the major issues for so many Long Islanders, Americans as well, across the country. But one of our viewers, Frank Rizzuto, wanted to ask specifically about SALT. He said, are you going to fight for us to repeal the $10,000 cap on SALT deductions? It's something you've done in the past. Now you're back.
I've talked about three priorities. I want to try and address the chaos at the border. I want to reinstate SALT, and I want to try and address this division that overlies every single issue, just getting people to work together with each other. And on SALT, again, it's expiring in 2025. There are going to be a lot of people, mainly Republicans and some progressive Democrats, that want to keep the cap in place. I'm going to do everything I can to get rid of that cap.
You mentioned the border crisis during your speech. You said you'd be open to a compromise that makes progress. But to your earlier point, is that going to be possible here, considering a lot of people on both sides, again, are going to say, this is not going far enough, this is going too far, you can't support it?
That's part of politics. We have to go through this process and this debate and this battle. I think people want something done. And we have a bipartisan compromise on the table right now that you couldn't ask for the Republicans. You couldn't ask for a more conservative, honest, ethical, hardworking Republican than Senator James Lankford, who negotiated on behalf of the Republicans. You're not going to find anybody more conservative or more honest or smarter. He's the perfect person. And as he said to me, he said, they wanted a 20-ounce ribeye. I only got them a 12-ounce ribeye. That's the problem. But you're not going to get a 20-ounce ribeye. You're only going to get, a compromise. So we have to educate people. I mean, one thing I want to make clear, this whole thing about 5,000 people at the border, that's the rule, is that if 5,000 people come to the border, you can shut the border down. Those 5,000 people don't get let in. If you adopt the proper process and you vet the people that come to the border seeking asylum, 90% of those people will be sent back and denied asylum. And instead of taking 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years in some cases, it'll happen in weeks. So it's not 5,000 people coming in. It's 90% being sent back and 10% being let in. And then they're going to have to go through further processes. So we just have to educate people.
The other three members of the Long Island congressional delegation all endorsed Mazi Pilip, of course. They all actively campaigned for her. Now they have the reality of you being in office. You feel you can work with them on some of these issues, including the migrant crisis, which was really at the forefront of the special election?
Absolutely. I mean, well, there was a big issue in the campaign where I talked about how I worked with Peter King on so many things. Well, Peter King said, I'm endorsing Mazi Pilip, I'm not endorsing Tom Suozzi. That's the point. We don't have to agree with each other on everything. We can be in different political parties, but we can still work together to try and serve the people. That's the idea. I'm not going to support these guys for Congress, okay? I mean, I work against them as hard as they worked against me, but maybe I will. I don't know. But the reality is let's work together for the people. Let's work to solve the problems. And SALT is so important to us. The border crisis is so important to us. And let's demonstrate that we can work together on local issues to try and get stuff done.
And lastly, what's your message to Long Islanders, folks in the 3rd Congressional District who have been through a lot over the past couple of years? What do you want to tell them?
First thing is thank you. Very grateful to you for giving me this great honor to serve you in the United States Congress. It's truly humbling and the honor of my life to be doing this job, especially during this important time. And for the people that voted for me, I really am so grateful. And for the people who didn't vote for me, I'm going to work for you too. And I'm going to try and get you to vote for me next time, because you're going to see that I'm going to fight for you to try and get things done for the people I serve.
Congressman Tom Suozzi, thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Appreciate you.
When we return, we're going to hear from two more members of the Long Island congressional delegation, Republicans Anthony D'Esposito and Nick LaLota. You're watching a special edition of News 12's Power and Politics from Washington, D.C.
News 12 is revealing the secrets across New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Discover the surprising unsung heroes of city life, working towns. Explore the hidden haunts of Prohibition that are making a comeback. Uncover these unique stories and more on new episodes of the original series Revealed. We'll look at the sites, relive the history, and meet the people that make the New York tri-state worth exploring. Don't miss new episodes of Revealed Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. on News 12.